The Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordan is set to shake up Eskom's board amid an ongoing battle to keep the lights on. Sectors across the board have endured weeks of disruptions. We're now joined by Mkuleko Hlengwa, Standing Committee on Public Accounts chairperson, for more on this. Thank you very much for availing yourself this afternoon. Is this the much needed, or one of the much needed solutions to change the composition of the board?
It's one of the action steps which is necessary because, quite frankly, the board is out of step in turning things around. It has been unable to meet even the most basic of commitments that they have made. The problems that Eskom continue, they persist on their watch, and it does not seem as though they are able to arrest the situation. There is a heightened regression if you look at the fact that we were on stage 6 a couple of days ago. You look at the fact that the construction of Medupi and Gusile, the deadlines there have been moved yet again. When we met with Eskom as the Standing Committee on Public Accounts in 2019, we left them with 23 recommendations. And when we did a follow-up visit in April this year, they'd only managed to actually achieve 9. But as things stand, the situation is not improving. At Eskom, the list of problems is long, and it's no use lamenting it. What is needed is the urgent reconfiguration of the board and the executives, from the CEO to the COO themselves, who are quite clearly not managing and coping to turn things around. The financial situation of Eskom is in itself problematic. And of course, there's the other challenges which I'm hoping the local government summit, which is underway over the past couple of days and the next couple of days, will deal with the municipal debt to Eskom challenge. Itself is causing, revenue difficulties for the entity, but also at the same time it goes to reliability, and we are hoping the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure will continue with its audit of the state. So the problems at Eskom have not abated, and there's no hope in sight as things stand now that things will change for the better. So it is our considered view that there does need to be changes. If you look at our latest report to the National Assembly some 3 weeks ago on the oversight visits to Eskom, we indicate in that report that the board and the executives do not seem to be able to turn things around, or have made significant efforts to turn things around.
Sure. You speak of the recommendations you gave to Eskom back in 2019, 29 of them, and in April 2022, only 9 have been implemented. It's now, almost the end of September. Have you had follow-up in terms of how far they were, and maybe if you could just highlight some of the most pertinent recommendations?
Well, we have not dealt with Eskom in this term. Parliament operates like a school, and so we're in the 3rd term now. It's coming to an end on Thursday. But this morning, the committee took a decision that we will be meeting as a matter of priority with Eskom when we come back in the next term, which will be in some 3 weeks' time. Amongst other things is, of course, to assess the progress that has been made. We've already submitted a report to the House, as I'm saying, some 3 weeks ago. Amongst other things, of course, that is a fundamental challenge. Is the Gusile Power Station in Mpumalanga is actually constructed on a coal mine. Yet no coal is being mined there. Instead, some 700 trucks are actually coming in every day to deliver coal. The impact of that on quality controls, on the expenses that Eskom is incurring. You look at the damage to road infrastructure, amongst others. So there's certain things that are basics, which the current board had committed, by the way, would have resolved by January 2020. It has not happened. The second point, which is of fundamental importance here, is that quite a number of serious allegations have been made insofar as the prevailing realities at Eskom are concerned. You'll remember that at some point we were told that there was sabotage taking place, but nothing has come of it. So even insofar as internal investigations are concerned for consequence management, they have been found wanting, because it's quite clear that if you make such a bold allegation, you would want to commit yourself to getting to the bottom of it, so that if it is the root cause of your problems, then you deal with it. So there is a laissez-faire attitude prevailing at Eskom to actually deal with some of these pressing challenges that I play. And the third point is that you are saddled with the board and executives that point blank refuse to be held to accountable. It is one of the major difficulties at Eskom. Instead of focusing on the fiduciary responsibilities at play, it's all soundbite oversight comics insofar as responding to the issues that prevail at Eskom. So the situation is dire as things stand, and I don't think that the president cutting short his visit to the UK and the United States for the UN General Assembly has solved anything. And that tells you that this is less a PR exercise and fundamentally a management issue and turning things around at the very heart of Eskom. There is a need, of course, I must hasten to say, to extend the restructuring of Eskom well beyond the board. You find that generally at Eskom, the top-heavy, the management there, and that you've got more employees than you actually need. So there is a need for a skills audit. There is a need to make a determination as to whether the necessary knowledge, skills, and expertise are prevalent at Eskom. All of this goes hand in hand with an Eskom and the government, I must say, which must explore the diversification of the energy regime in the country in order to alleviate the pressure which Eskom currently has. But that said, it does not take away from the fact that as things stand now, Eskom in itself with its management is not coping.
Mr. Hlengwa, very quickly for us before we let you go, as you speak of the problems that Eskom seems to identify, like sabotage, yet nothing comes out of that. There's a widely held view in some sectors of society that Eskom has been deliberately sabotaged in order to privatize it, hence the entry of independent power producers. Does the committee have a view on this?
No, we don't. Our expectation is that for so long as Eskom is a SOE, it must continue performing its duties and responsibilities as per its mandate, and where there are allegations, and these are very serious ones, they must be investigated. However, the point must be made that if it is government's intention to privatize, then they should do exactly that. As opposed to subjecting Eskom, if the allegation is true, and the country and the economy to this kind of instability, risk and collapse that we see right now. What is important here is policy certainty and policy direction, which will enable investors and the economy to know what it is that needs to happen. So that whatever the Minister of Finance says in the medium term policy statement in October is very, very crucial in how government is prioritizing the financial management. We need to be privy to the details of whatever bailout that will be there, and that in itself will be an indication. Any bailout is an indication of trouble. So these are the decisions that government has to take. But as things stand right now, our expectation is that Eskom must meet its responsibilities within the parameters of what its mandate is.
Mkuleko Hlengwa is the chairperson of the Standing Committee on Public Accounts. Thank you, sir.